A very warm welcome to everyone. This is Canada. I am kushalmehra, and as always, I have my co-host Daniel Boardman with me. First of all, we want to apologize for a long break. I think this is after 2-3 weeks that we're doing a podcast. The reason for that is India and Pakistan were fighting, and I was traveling after that. And then since I've come to Canada, it's been a week. We just could not. But today's podcast is extremely important because if you don't know the news, I think now it's been a couple of days where we got news of the horrific murder of Yaron Lischinsky and Sarah Milgrim, who were murdered brutally in Washington, D.C., by a 31-year-old named Elias Rodriguez. That's all we know as far as the news is concerned. There is only one video clip that is out where he was being arrested and taken out, where he was yelling anti Semitic slogans and pro Hamas slogans. And I thought it's only appropriate that Daniel and I got together. Because this is in our neck of the woods, because Washington D.C. Is not that far away from Toronto, Canada, and also this is North America, and what happens in America cannot be ignored and should not be ignored as far as the Jewish community of North America is concerned. It's a concern for each and every community that this kind of brutal murder has been normalized. So, and I apologize, I'm taking such a long time. I'm just setting it up what we want to talk about. It's not just about these two horrific murders. It is about what Daniel and I have been talking about on this very show and on other shows also for the last few weeks, or probably more than a year or so, post October 7th, or even pre October 7th, where this normalization of hatred under the guise of free speech, whether it's Khalistanis, which Daniel and I have opposed equally, or whether it is this level of anti Semitism, which is now. I remember once Daniel was on the pod and he had said that eventually all of this bigotry will lead to violence. And unfortunately, it doesn't make me happy or Daniel happy to say we were proven right, because these are innocent people who were, and the tragedy is this couple was working for peace in the Middle East. So, having said that, now I'll hand it over to Daniel, and you can make your point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not. This isn't the time for. I mean, there's a bit more than the "I told you so." I don't think we're saying why we were talking about these issues to like do that, but there's a point of what this is like. To this is the sort of this is the attempt to globalize the Intifada, right? This is a man murdering, and if you see also the post thing, there are people who openly support this. The man went over, murdered a Jewish couple, and as the woman was crawling away, reloaded his gun, stood over her, and made sure to execute her. Did this to try and incite the global Intifada everywhere. And there is definitely a faction. We don't know how much it is just broken people online, a collection of losers, bots funded by who knows. But this is this is the jihad, right? This is an attempt to globalize the Intifada. This is the communist revolution that they've all been talking about. Like they're openly calling for violence, and now we're in this time where we have to see as a society, how do we respond to this? How do you, because if you normalize murder, political violence for perceived wrongdoings somewhere else in the world, if you just say, well, sometimes if you feel your intentions are pure enough, you can go out and exact vengeance. Like, where does that go? So, I mean, you have this community that's trying to incite like an open Jew hunt. Let's be honest with what the Intifadas were, like the first and second Intifada. Like the reason why Israel is a wall. Oh, from Mexico to Ramallah, the walls must go. Blah, blah, blah. Why was there a wall in Ramallah? What wasn't put there, pre the second Intifada? First, these are tearaways where Palestinians would come over the border. That was just there, and they're sharing. And yes, they had jobs there, and there was transport, and there weren't all these strict rules. But they started a wave of gun attacks, suicide bombings, car rammings, just killing as many people, killing as many people as they could, just for the cause, to kill more people to eradicate Israel. Okay. And this is what they want to bring to the West, the East, everywhere, right? They're saying, the point of doing this, it's terrorism, right? To create fear. They would say to Zionists, which is, trying to openly intimidate me. Yeah, I'm Jewish, and I think Israel should exist, and like you're not allowed to kill us all. Like, no. So there's again, this is why the things like the Monder attack are so important. Why is the attack on the Monder so viscerally effective to me as a Canadian, as a Jew, as a whatever? Because when you see that people have crossed the line, there's a new thing, frontier going on, where they're going and they're in the Monders on camera in daylight attacking, and they see they can get away with that. Well, we've all now pushed everything closer and closer to the abyss. So we're at a point now where we're going to have to say, like, will there be consequences to, like, will people attempt to celebrate this murder and propagate more of it openly? And they already are. Will they be the loudest voice, or will society sort of stand up at this point and say, okay, like, there has to be something about, like, yes, we're all free speech people and blah, 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 but like, we all used to say, like, yeah, like, open incitement to genocide. If you, like, say, we're like, I killed this person, we should all kill more people like this, kill. Yeah, okay, that's criminal, whatever. We're at that point now where, like, this is the new thing, where people can see that murders are happening and people are calling for more political violence and murders, and everyone and the establishment is kind of, dicking around, two-state solution. Oh, hate has no place here. John Lennon, move back with anger. Can we just ignore this all, go away? But as we ignore it, it still comes up. And now we're at a pivotal point. I think it is Jews. I think a lot of Jews understand that this is now a pivotal point of, and Barry Weiss came out and said it. And like, I get why she said it, because I kind of feel it too. Like, this is the global intifada. Like, okay, this is the day we warned about.
I want to share something that I came across on social media. It is so horrific. I normally would not do these things. This was a post by the Twitter handle, the Leviathan, and it talks about a gentleman, Mahmoud Shabib, who is a Toronto based senior communications consultant and owner of the Mindful Zenith WordPress blog. I'm reading the exact tweet over here. 48 hours before the anticipated Walk with Israel event, Mahmoud Shabib decided to use public transit to get to the Jewish area of Bathurst and Shepherd area to put up stickers and scout the area, calling it being, quote, inside the Zio Pig's den. And I want to share these images. This is extremely disturbing behavior. What the hell is this? This is so disturbing. Hamas is a resistance movement. They carry out counter-offensives and counter-terrorism operations. This gentleman is tweeting stuff like this in 2024.
25?
This is
yeah, it's 24. Yeah.
Yeah, this is 24 right here.
Yeah, this is 24.
This
You're
is
good,
diabolical. Here the post says, don't be fooled by the power of Zionism. We outnumber them exponentially by far, and we will win. What is this? What
These are
is
people
this?
trying to. This is a Jew hunt. These have happened throughout history.
Look at this. Like, what the hell is this? What is this? Like, what's happening here? This is not normal behavior.
Cleansing's never gonna make Israelis feel safe. More blood, more.
I am not gonna play this shit. Just what the hell is this? And this is the gentleman. What is happening here? And look at this piece of shit. Like, what? This is normal now?
Yeah.
Like the other day, all right? There are so many similar patterns in extremism between anti-Jewish hatred and anti-Hindu hatred or anti-Indian hatred. I would say it is, it's not like the Khalistanis hate only the Hindu. They hate the Hindu especially,
Yeah.
but any Sikh who just speaks normal sense, they hate them too. I was at
But
this
the hatred of the
conference today.
Jew will go towards the hatred. Like Hindus get it, but actually you're right on India because the hatred of the nation. Like Jews are the OG nation concept of nation. Like where do you guys all get it from? And like yeah, a lot of stuff come from India, the zero, whatever. But like where is the exception of like okay, we are the nation of Israel that carries on this fundamental promise of like these are the laws. What are your laws? Okay, God said da, 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 and like these are the like it's like the concept of like civilizational nationalism was like the covenant. That's sort of what it is. So when you erode and you go at the Jew and everything you hate about the Jews and the anti-Semitic, and you break it down, you want to start nittering at the Jews, you're going to start to undermine the concept of anything Western civilization, right? Nation states, or even India, which wants to be the concept of a civilization state, which is why the anti-Semitism pairs so well with the Chinese and why they'll push it on TikTok. Because why not? It's destabilizing, and it's driving the Westerners crazy. So why not? It destabilizes them there. You see why the communists would want to use it to destroy Western civilization because you make it in with the white nationalists in this, like right. If these people are more likely to agree to some shitty idea if it's put up not on them, right? So oh, you want to hate Western civilization? You're not going to make someone in America hate Western civilization at first by being like, oh, you hate Western civilization. You have to hate colonialism and all this stuff. But who's doing it? The white people? Oh, Israel. Oh, Israel, it's like us. See, America controls Israel or Israel controls America or something in the Western colonial capital, something, right? It's just a great deranging, destabilizing agent. So, yeah, the reason why like anti-Semitism, which I'd say dangerous, and it doesn't end with the Jews. It starts with the Jews. It's easiest to pick apart like, oh, it's just Israel. Like again, Israel, the international law, fuck you. Israel's the only country that is established under international law. The only country that follows any of the law. It's a country made by fucking lawyers in the 20th century. What are you talking about? Like we could go over the mandates and it's the only country that it's what law. It none of it matters. None of it matters. It's just jihadi and comedy and sometimes Nazis, gobbledygook, used to and listen, it's easier to get people to like think, oh, Israel, right? And then, for anyone, it's a great way, like if you're dealing with lefty, like, yeah, okay, yeah, we have problems with like, okay, we're not Israel's worse, right? That can describe like people on the Indian left, the Canadian left, the European left. Europeans are the worst at it. No one's as bad as the Europeans, but that's the ultimate European left, right? Where the European left gets to absolve their own sins by supporting the jihadis or doing the wish-wash game because they love doing the whole narrative where, the Holocaust could have happened to anyone. It wasn't our fundamental failure to save our Jews and live up to our values and let the death camps expand. It wasn't just that the Germans built these death camps and coordinated them and used them. It's that a lot of the countries they conquered, were okay giving up with the Jews, and some cooperated, and some did not. Some like it was the thing, but there's a shame to Europe of letting that happen. And if you just get to grow up in Europe and then say, oh yes, Western, we're bad, but nowhere near as bad as the Jews. Like if we didn't do it to the Jews would have done it to us. C'est la vie, halal. Just look what they're doing with the Palestinians. What? Being like, please run away. We'll call you. Like, don't, throw a bomb at the thing. So the Europeans love to do that because that absolves Europe of all its sins by just saying, oh, it's general humanity. Like, look, we did it. We did the Nazis to you, but you would have done Nazis to us because just look at like this, Rafah. We used to have buildings and now there's no buildings because there's a war. And I understand war. I understand war is bad, but Israel kills people in wars and uses weapons like tanks and guns and helicopters. And you're like, yeah, that's a war. No, but you don't understand. Israel kills people. And you're like, yeah, that's what wars are. Who started the thing? But yeah, to go. So I've always seen how this is all connected. And if you are, again, like, yeah, so a lot of, you don't have to be Jewish to understand this. Like, Why are your churches burning, guys? Because these types of ideas. And you think if you think as a good Christian, white, whatever, that when the Jew hunt starts, the people who are like, let's go hunt the Jews, if they get rowdier and rowdier, you think they're just going to leave the churches alone? You don't think that's coming to, you don't think, once they're done there as they go, the Mondo is already under attack, church is already burning. So I have some hope for some of the people in this country, but you look at Toronto and like the Toronto mayor's a failure, not a failure. She's succeeded in being a failure. So she did set out to fail and be a communist villain. So she is doing good at destroying the city, Olivia Chow. Then you have the police, which don't care about any of this. You pull up the tweet, like this, the Leviathan account is doing more police work than the entire Toronto Police Department combined. The entire Toronto Police, OPP, CSIS, RCMP, Calgary PD, NYPD, all the PDs in Canada. That one Leviathan account does more to monitor active community and counterterrorism threats. Who are bragging about it. And even if we have accounts who can do the police work for the police work is done for the police. They can see it. They can do it. They have it. They see these people all the time. Refuse to take action. So again, and this is again why leftist institutionalists are fine with anti-Semitism. This is why the judges and the lawyers in the system, they are corrupt and are letting this all happen, because if they give into the fucking two-state Palestine thing and they can do the thing, bad things are happening there, but it's also happening there, and moral relativism, yes, the Jews are being attacked here, but you just look at Israel or whatever, like Jews would be attacking them if they had the different scenarios. So it's like all kind of it's more complicated, right? You get to do that thing where it's like, oh, because it's two states and it's so complicated, like I don't want to get into that. So they, to maintain like their sort of intellectual superiority, this has to be complicated. Because if it's not complicated and like outright incitement to murder is bad, and you're a man of the law who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars and brags about your honor and the degree you have and this should come by, and you should have said, yeah, screw the consequences of whoever's going to threaten me. I'm the law stands here. Right? All these fucking judges in Canada love making stands for stuff all the time. Like, yeah, this is it. None of them will come out and be like, okay, like, yes, jail for trying to kill people. Or whatever. Like, and even if we do get him into jail, like he's just going to be released the next day. We don't have to keep people in jail. It's another thing. It's a joke of a country. Law and deterrence, law enforcement, society, social structures, all of it's broken down completely. Everyone knows the police are corrupt, and not even like good corrupt, like have some sort of honor, but are taking money from the mafia just to get their kids to college and play and a hockey trip. Like, just useless, just given in to the narrative that some loser academics spun about them, so now they can't do anything, and they're just emasculated sentries set to stare at crimes. What is that? And of course they lashed out at the Jews and the Iranians and the people who stand up to the mob, because they should be standing up to the mob and they should be enforcing the law. When some lunatic threatens to kill a Jewish kid and say, go back to Poland, I saw last time, in front of a cop. So of course the cop's going to get mad when you say, no, you can't say that to a little girl or Jew stands up for himself. Because now you're making conflict. Now you're making me look bad. I just want to stand here peacefully. I watch people threaten to kill the Jews and have all the Jews then come and shake my hand afterward. And some will. The CEO types, the people who believe themselves to be CEO of the Jewish community of different things. So yes, thank you, sir, for standing and doing your job, being paid and not doing your job, and watching crimes.
See, my point is very simple. If this was to be flipped around and the communities are changing, would the law in Canada allow this kind of rubbish? No,
No, it's not.
it would
No.
not. It will not. What people in Canada should expect is consistency when it comes to to the application of law. What what is good for the, what is that line in English? What works for the goose works for the gander, or something of
Yeah,
that
what's
sort.
good for the goose
Whatever.
is good for the gander.
Gander, right? So I don't see any consistency in the application of law as far as Canada is concerned, and and to me that's what bothers me over here. Whether it is a Khalistani parade where absolute rubbish is spewed on the streets of Mississauga, where 800,000 people of one particular group are openly told to go back, or it is this kind of messaging where under this is word salad generation, where and you create a straw man argument where you create a meaning of Zionism which actually is not the case.
Yeah.
You don't even steel man what Zionism is, then
I
you
call it
straw
being a
man it.
rapist.
Yeah, and
Because a
it's like you.
rapist is someone who misdefines Zionism to win a political argument, and that makes them a rapist.
Yeah, and you strawman something. After strawmanning something, you then justify any kind of action to that strawman. That's just not on.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, this, it just doesn't work like that. My view on the Israel Palestine issue has always been very consistent. In fact, my view may not be what Daniel's view is, to be very honest. But it doesn't mean, and I'm actually probably one of the rare podcasters who has invited a Palestinian perspective on the podcast. I did get Shadi Hamid. For the record, I invited him again. Shadi never replied to my WhatsApp message. It's not like Shadi did not know me. He did not. So nobody can accuse me that I did not try to get another perspective on this podcast. But it doesn't mean that there are, I'm not going to play this both sidism games in this. I'm not. I refuse to play this both sidism games in this. There are no both sides to this argument. What is happening in Canada with the Jewish community, or whether it's happening in the United States of America with the Jewish community right now, is just appalling. It's appalling. I'll give you another example. Today, I was at the 40th celebration. It was a conference in McMaster University about the Air India bombing, Air India 182. And one of the victim families, I think they were in the front row. I'm assuming they were from the victim families. They were like, we have stopped going to the memorial services because the Khalistanis come over there and they start heckling. And like, what kind of bizarro world are we creating in Canada, where the victims are now being bullied and they get scared? And this is exactly what happens with the Jewish community. This is exactly, October 7th was a barbaric attack on the Jewish community. And now what is happening is the people who are the supporters of the perpetrators of that are going in Jewish neighborhoods and heckling them. Can somebody in their right mind explain to me how any of this makes sense? How any, you want to make a case for what's happening in Gaza from the Israeli side? This is your case? You think a person like me is going to get convinced with this? Really? This is your convincing argument? I am going to go to a Jewish neighborhood and threaten them? I am going to go outside a conference in DC and shoot a couple of Israeli staff members? That's your argument? No, then I'm Team Israel all the way. And fuck you all. This is not how you win an argument. And then people like AOC, oh, this is so not on. This is not tolerable. Like Anita Anand going around fucking preaching everyone. What the hell did she do?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell did she do? I'm gonna pull that up. In the meantime, you can make your point. What did Anita Anand say a few days ago about the whole?
Was she repeating the starvation lie? Gaza gets more aid than, like, there are great accounts. Imshin, you should show this account if you want to follow on Twitter. And this account, I think she just follows Gazan social media and has for years, and she just posts what's on Gazan social media. So you'll see like all the happening restaurants and people on the streets, and like timestamp Gaza, like this and this, that. Like, what are you talking about, everyone, with all this stuff? So Anita Anand was doing the sort of like I think she was doing the like 15,000 babies are about to die in 48 hours. What an insane thing to just, you have to be so stupid to believe that, or so evil and willfully cruel to want to push that or corrupt for your own agenda. But stupid. 14,000, like do you know how many, like the 14, like babies are also hard to starve because like mothers give milk and you can breastfeed a baby, right? So it's, if the families are going to starve, right, then like the 14,000 babies means there's probably like I don't know, like easily like 100, probably closer to 250,000 people en masse about to starve to death in 48 hours. Doesn't that, even if there was no food, that makes no sense. Like, but they're all fine. And listen, and people don't get in. Yes, the Israelis have to come out and be like, listen, they declared war, so we told them this is a hot zone, and then we move the civilians out to this area that we secure, and then once we get in this area that we can make sure there's no Hamas, then we bring food into that area so Hamas can't get the aid, so it goes to the people. The story about the aid is the war Israel's trying to fight is, people think they're trying to deny them aid. That's not what the war, that's, they should be, okay? They should. I am advocating for it. Clip this. Yes, there should be a siege on Gaza. Actually, we should siege them. What the Israelis are actually trying to do is fight through Hamas to be able to provide aid directly to the people, so Hamas cannot get the aid, and then when they steal the aid, they then sell it, and it becomes a market to support them, which they can then pay people and maintain control over the Gaza Strip. So by denying them aid, and it denies them the ability to buy ammunition and whatever, and like their money source to keep going. So you want to strangle them financially. So Israel's going to an extra cockamamie step to fight a thing, to open up a corridor to get the food to the Palestinians. It doesn't have to go through Hamas hands, that they can then give to them and then keep it whatever safe as much as it can to no Hamas or weapons in the area. And then, hey, does Libya want to fucking take some? What about Arab solidarity? Like, how about Arab brothers? They should go to Egypt. Honestly, Egypt started the whole thing, and Egypt radicalized all the Palestinians by creating the Fedayeen back in the day. Like, do that. But Egypt already destroyed Rafah. Rafah was on the, there was two parts to Rafah. Rafah on the Israeli side and Rafah on the Egyptian side of the border. It's a border city. The Palestinians pulled some shit in Rafah. I can't remember the year, but early 21st century. You have to get it back. And Egypt's just like, it's gone. Like, Egyptian Rafah is no more. It's been leveled. It's completely destroyed. You know, the Israelis have leveled Rafah on their side, but there's still more of, you know, Rafah and the Gaza Strip than there is on the Egyptian side. So what are we talking about? Okay, none of you care about Palestinians. No one does. No one ever wants to help them. But we have a global jihad or an intifada. Because again, the credit to the jihadis, they got a commie to do this one. Looks like this guy was an Antifa type, and you know, this is I don't want to give credit to the terrorist groups like Al Qaeda for this one. I think it's much more like the terrorist groups at Harvard and Columbia than Al Qaeda and Boko Haram that push this one. But
yeah, listen to Anita Anand. Listen to Anita Anand, the foreign minister.
Israel's blocking food and aid to Gaza. What do you think of that decision? And is the Canadian government doing anything to stop that?
We cannot allow the continued use of food as a political tool. The Prime Minister has been very clear about that. Over 50,000 people have died as a result of the aggression caused against the Palestinian and the Gazan people in Palestine. And using food as a political tool is simply unacceptable. And we need to continue to work towards a ceasefire, we need to ensure that we have a two-state solution, and Canada will continue to maintain that position.
Okay, I understand the bit about the two-state solution. I understand that she's trying to say that you have to give people access to food. What I don't understand is that who takes Canada seriously?
The CBC sometimes.
And
Sometimes.
after
Yeah.
this is
Usually
what
they can make
she
more serious.
says, and then this horrific incident happens. All right, this horrific incident happens, and I have like people who know me know I'm not a fan. Like I just like this is her statement. Okay, how do you make sense of anything she says? I mean, the funny thing is your reply is the first one below the tweet. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I don't hate her more than any other liberal. Like, I get what she's doing there. The liberals have gone more radical and left, and they've chosen. Listen, the liberals have chosen Muslims over Jews in Canada, but they're at least talented enough politically to know that okay, we picked Hamas over Israel, okay, but not Hamas. We did Palestine, so they know what they and they went from the pro-Israel position to like 75% Hamas, 25% Israel, right? So they're still not in favor of murdering all the Jews, but they're not going to really stop anyone from murdering all the Jews. Their number one priority is to make sure, right, because that they can score, right? It's don't hurt me, right? So the liberals are going to do the don't hurt me, or someone else, and who, and but then they're gonna send like Marco Mendocino and other proxies to at least like they'll try and still court the silly Jews on look, we're doing 25%. We're not saying kill them all, so we're very pro both this and that. So the liberals have just sort of abandoned the case for civilizational nationhood and what we are and what Israel is and what America is and what, like, again, it's all global leftism, pitter patter, this and that, and like gotta hand it to the two-state solution. Like the two-state solution is the silliest, like know nothing statement of whatever. Like there is no two-state solution. Like what are we talking about right now? We're always talking about it's a silly thing. One, because there already was a two-state solution. Palestine was divided into East and West Palestine. East Palestine became the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. They then ethnically cleansed all the Jews. It's still illegal to sell land to a Jew in Jordan, where none of us are legally allowed to live under penalty of death. And then the Western Palestine was supposed to be for the Jews, and then the Arabs wanted that too, and then that was the partition plan. So then we went for another two-state solution. So okay, we had a two-state solution, it didn't work. We need another two-state solution. But the West Bank, as you call it, and the Gaza Strip aren't touching each other. So are they going to be the same state? And are they going to? So like realistically, no, because like both of those states have factions that openly want to kill all the Jews. Why? Because of the jihadists. The Hamas charter, Hamas's own charter. The international agreements we make and all the stuff in the international, it's invalid. In their own charter, they say all international negotiations, peace processes, this and that, and everything out there, it's all fake. It's all fake, and you're allowed to lie, and we're gonna it's show for jihad. Like it's in their charter. So you have Gaza is there, and then the West Bank. And the other thing is like, you think yourself a learned person, and okay, Palestine is whatever. Okay, what part of Palestine is the West Bank inside of it part of? The West. The West Bank is in Western Palestine. Well, no, because if you look at Israel and you're looking at the map, like the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, is on the right-hand side. That's east. But it's the West Bank of the Jordan River when Jordan took that, right? Because Jordan is Palestine. It was all Palestine, Jordan and Israel. And then the West Bank of Jordan is on the western bank of the Jordan River. That's what the Jordanians called it. So this mythical long-lived, the Palestinian nation's been a bajillion people. Just look at what they call themselves. And so you have this thing where it's like, okay, we're going to say 2 states. So the 2-state can't. So 3 states. Are we talking 3 states? Like, at least if we're going to be serious and look at the problem, okay, Gaza's different than the West Bank. They've never been ruled by the same people. Gaza used to be part of Egypt. The West Bank used to be part of Jordan. There was never a Palestinian state before this. That Palestine was, no, it was Jordan and it was Egypt. Okay, they were 2 different countries. Now we have them here. Do we want to make the state of Gaza and the state of the West Bank? Is that what you were saying? A 3-state solution? At least that's somewhat feasible. We could talk about that. What, 2 states where the people in Hamas have freedom of movement in Israel when you saw what they did in Israel on October 7th? You think the Israelis are just going to allow that? Just die. Just die horribly, all you Jews, because we don't like you. Because we learned about colonialism. And, I don't have to feel bad about what my ancestors did in Canada to whatever indigenous thing if I scream really hard at the Jews right now. Right? Because then I can get rid of my generational guilt. Like my white colonizer dad, he went and worked at a factory that did capitalism against the environment. Yeah. Then you got to just yell at the Jews. So you don't have to think because think about it, right? You hate capitalism. Your dad and your mom live in a capitalist society. You did a colonialism. You lived in a house. That house could have belonged to someone else, could have belonged to an indigenous person. Why didn't they live in your house? But if I just scream at Israel all the time, I got to pretend that I'm fighting modern day colonialism. Oh, there's some colonialism going on. Where? Jews are in Judea. Can you believe it? Jews in Jerusalem.
I've come to this conclusion. People had colon cancer. Some people have colonial cancer. They add colonialism to everything. And this is coming from a guy who's actually suffered colonialism. All right. My country was actually colonized. And even I find it irritating. You go to these word salad generating Hindu conferences and they everything, all roads lead to everything is colonial. So I found and in my Daniel always finds it very weird that I read so much, but I am a sucker. So I like to torture myself by reading all these absurd papers, like my friend Colin Wright does it. I also am a sucker for these kinds of papers. So when I started reading these things, I found a very common trend in Pakistani Marxists. Everything is colonial, right? So how do Pakistani lefties justify all sorts of weird bullshit? They say everything is colonial. There was no Hindu-Muslim conflict. Islamic invasion of India was never Islamic. It was just political. This is all white man doing everything. Yeah. Look, I'm not denying the white man's role, the Britishers' role. But, oh my God, as if we were singing and dancing together before the Britishers came.
Because, when you get into the colonialism thing, okay, when you get into the colonialism basic argument, when I learned in university, the general underlying push is these people, it is white power. It's actual white power. These people don't have power, right? They're actually less than. It's the evil whites who came in and did all the I actually remember being taught in a bird course. It was known as an easy course, so that's why I took it. Oh, it's human geographies. What's that? But it ended up just being this bullshit.
Look at this. Well, I have to read. I can't help it.
Yeah, you have to go that. But I remember, learning that they told us that all natives all the time, just white people complaining about, oh, we're so terrible with the natives every day. We just basically learned that they weren't. It was basic. They outright once said that white people innovation is a white concept, And like it was whites are superior. It's like all this innovation in capitalism and stuff was a white thing. And basically, the noble savage, like just playing the bongos for peace, bum bada dum bada bum bada bum bada bum, and different ways of knowing and farming and growing and being and seeing and peeing and treeing and transmogrifying and gentrifying, but in nature, and like just obscene bullshit, this and that. But it was like, no, they're people. They were actually people. The whole colonial theory, post-colonial theory, it's white power. It is 100% the Ku Klux Klan. It is an academic Ku Klux Klan, but just inverted. Because the Ku Klux Klan would love to. This is the irony of the Ku Klux Klan, is the argument they have to make. Okay, is that whites are intellectually superior and therefore diluting the prevalence or power of whites will dilute society as a whole, because we are the master race. The proof of us being the master race is look at the cell phone and then this and then this and then this to make it, right? Now, the great irony of the Ku Klux Klan is they're a bunch of inbred retards, and then none of them can actually articulate that point, right? You're like, you just kind of have to make that point coherently, but there's a few of them that will like rise to prominence of that who can articulate the basic thing. But that's the fundamental evil of white nationalism and Ku Klux Klan. Like that's their fundamental argument they have to make, is like white ethnic superiority of them. The post-colonialists make that argument all day. All they do is make that argument, but say it's bad, right? See, they do say, whites, they are the most powerful. Like they create innovation in this society. Whites did create this. This is pure white thing. Now, where the Klan says is we must maintain that by keeping it white. They say whites made this. Look at all this great stuff white people did. That's evil, and we have to burn it all down, right? So where one says like we must kick out all the browns, the other says it's evil, we'll burn it all down, right? They're both going off the same flawed argument, which is white people are the master race, which
I think James Lindsay had the perfect terminology,
Yeah.
the woke left and the woke right. I think James
Yeah,
Lindsay has it
it's
spot
perfect,
on.
yeah.
These are just hate-filled pieces of shit. And the patterns are all there. These are losers, whether on the left or the right. They are losers who have not achieved anything positive in their life. And their only claim to fame is grifting and selling hatred. I would never, listen, I will never sell hatred against an average Palestinian, and I would not want to make a single penny off of it. For me, that's not what I was born for. I have never done it. I will never do it. I once again say, I will, if tomorrow Shadi agrees to come on the pod and talk, I will let Shadi speak nonstop. I am saying this right now because I have so much respect for that man. I have met Shadi Hamid. He's a good human being. So I will never say that. But what is happening in certain corners of the United States of America, I'm sorry, who's that comic, Dave Smith? Like, I'm sorry, you're not, he does that podcast on Joe Rogan with whoever that
Douglas
Britisher
Murray,
is,
yeah.
Douglas Murray, and then he spends a whole month explaining how he won. Man,
Listen, if a month later you're still debating the ghost of Douglas Murray, you may not have defeated good Douglas Murray. Like,
No,
if you're talking about a man's ghost as the calendar flips over, I think
I want to remind people of this photo. You remember this podcast? We have discussed this. These two are the officers. Again, Officer Farhan. Remember them?
Yeah.
Gosh. The Toronto police had to take this part down. But remember, what if there is a walk and these two guys are part of that?
I wouldn't be surprised if the Toronto police
I would not feel safe as a Jew.
They probably are making the case that there's going to be a lot of Islamophobia there on both sides. There'll be anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, and they need to be there to fight Islamophobia at the Walk for Israel.
I take great offense when people are trying to normalize this. And I'm not even Jewish. We cannot normalize this level of hatred. I'm sorry if somebody thinks this is just another day in the office. No, it is not. 2 innocent lives have been taken. And yes, the lives in Gaza matter too. For me, everything matters. But right now, I am discussing a North American issue. It is not an Israel and Palestine issue. These are North American Jews. They are not in Israel.
They're inside. He found two people at the Jewish National Museum for a Jewish American Committee event. That's where he went hunting.
Yes. What nonsense is this? Like, what are we trying to normalize in this country? And my biggest worry is that, Kash Patel makes that statement. You remember Kash Patel's statement? I think we should play that too. Um, like, what is wrong here? What is wrong in Canada? Like, and every time, oh, why is he saying this? The Canadians just take it too sensitively. Listen, if your American counterpart is saying something like this, and I want to play this clip of Kash Patel. I'm not saying whether it's 100% accurate or not. I believe Kash is exaggerating a little bit, but the point is we have to take this shit seriously. Here.
First 2-3 months that we've been in the seat under Donald Trump's administration, he has sealed the border. He has stopped border crossings. So where's all the fentanyl coming from still? Where's the trafficking coming from still? Where are all the narco traffickers going to keep bringing this stuff into the country? The northern border. Our adversaries have partnered up with the CCP and others, Russia, Iran, on a variety of different criminal enterprises, and they're going and they're sailing around to Vancouver and coming in by air. And the sheer tyranny of distance of the northern border and the lack of cooperation from federal authorities in prior administrations to actually firm up that northern border is what's causing a continuation of violent crime. Now, we're focused on it, and we're calling our state and local law enforcement partners up there. But you know who has to get to step in is Canada, because they're making it up there and shipping it down here. And I don't care about getting into this debate about making someone the 51st state or not, but they are our partner in the north. And say what you want about Mexico, but they helped us seal the southern border. The facts speak for themselves.
So this is on the fentanyl bit, and the fentanyl bit is connected to terrorism, whether people like it or not. It is.
Yeah, drugs fund black market. Black market funds crime and terrorism and international criminality. That's
And when he said that approximately, I don't remember the exact number, where he said 80% or something of terrorists are coming from Canada, that scared the shit out of me. Okay, yeah, this is the clip. I'm going to share this clip. We, as Canadians, we should be pretty worried about this shit. And everybody is like, who cares? It's water on the bridge. Listen to this short clip.
Give you a statistic that I gave to Congress that nobody was paying attention to. Over 300 known or suspected terrorists crossed into this country last year illegally. Known or suspected terrorists, not illegals. Not just illegals, known or suspected terrorists. 85% of them came in through the northern border.
Wow.
This,
of course makes sense. It's easy to cross from north to south.
You know how scary that is?
We don't vet.
That means the more live with us over here.
Of course. I've been saying this for years.
We've not, the worst case scenario, the only joke we can crack in this is we do not do a good job. We do not send all of them to America. The Americans caught us. I mean, obviously, I don't want it to happen. I like America too. But the point is, what the hell? This is the guy who's in charge of FBI coming on a prominent mainstream American news show. Call it what it is. He says 85% of the 300 odd listed terrorists who came illegally into the United States of America last year were from Canada. And nobody talks about it in this country.
Like, very few people do. Some of us have been trying to warn for years.
Was there an official rebuttal to what Kash Patel said from anybody in our government?
No, just we don't have a government. What do you mean government? We don't have a government.
What is?
We haven't had a government.
We have a government. What the hell is this then?
In 6 months.
Look, this is a government, right? This is a government. These are all these ministers, right?
They're not at work. They're having meetings. They're chillaxing. Mark Carney's, he needs time to set up, guys. We don't have a government. We have a Mark Carney can.
And did you know the story about Shafkat Ali, the president of the Treasury Board?
No.
Oh, you're gonna love this. You're gonna be so proud of me.
Is this something that you're gonna have to tell me after stream? Or?
No, wait. I just had a hearty laugh. This is from 2022. This is the same guy.
Oh yeah, this guy.
He took a dump in a meeting. He's holding a meeting while he's taking a dump. He really had to go, guys. He really had to go. What is wrong with this country? Tell me, I get you the best stuff. Oh, and you know, this was during a parliamentary Zoom meeting, and later on he was forced to apologize. And these are your secretaries of state. That
Mark Carney's running a tight ship.
I'm fascinated by this Secretary of State. Randeep Sarai, Secretary of State, International Development. For people who don't know who Randeep Sarai is, this is the M44 guy. M44, guys, this was the same motion that was basically to convert all temporary foreign workers to permanent. And guess who doesn't get anything in the shadow ministry? Jamil Jabani. Why? Because he wants to do the complete opposite of that in the Conservative Party of Canada. By the way, even the Conservatives voted for the M44 motion. And this bullshit argument that people constantly give that, but that was not the Pierre Poilievre Conservatives. Fuck you. Pierre Poilievre was a member of parliament and he voted as a member of parliament in favor of M44. Now he can do somersaults and turn around. But now let's talk about.
But he hasn't turned around on it. That's the thing. He never really opposed it or tried to make. Listen, in Canada, you can actually get me on the argument of like, okay, that was Aaron O'Toole's CPC, and Poilievre. Listen, he got demoted. He did his job. He was really good at his job, and he got demoted because of it by Aaron O'Toole because it's called to the leader, and the leader can just whip the party, and they actually can like just take away your like the thought of a free vote. The party can take away free votes. They can't declare that, so they can just whip you. But if you're going to use that as your defense, you then have to at least acknowledge that that's a problem and you're not going to be like that. But Selavi.
No, like, okay, I'm literally sharing Pierre Poilievre's tweet, okay? This is directly from Pierre Poilievre. Leadership team. Everything remains the same. Arpan Khanna remains the National Outreach Chair. What is his achievement? The Diwali fiasco. What is his achievement? That in the Indian-dominated ridings, they barely won anything. Is this their achievement? Is the qualifying criteria for getting a shadow ministership in the Conservative Party of Canada basically failing? That's the qualifying criteria, I guess.
Dude,
because Jamil Jawani does not get anything.
Is finance minister. Our finance minister is a participation trophy in accounting from Northeast Southwest Technical Institute of Alberta. What are we doing? This guy's going to take on Mark Carney? Listen, I'm not the greatest finance thing there. I'm decent at doing it from a conservative background economically, and I can take on the globalists. Like, this guy is like, you need someone like, Pierre Poilievre is good at this. Like, this guy has a participation trophy in accounting. He is a self-professed former gangster. He is the finance critic, and he will be trying to critique a man with a Harvard degree who used to work at Goldman Sachs, was the governor of the Bank of Canada and Bank of England, and then ran a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. All of these are smart people words. Now, there are ways to criticize him by saying the economics he did were bad, and he was generally betting against the well-being of the people by engineering his own economic disasters for moralistic reasons and profiting off of them. You have to make that. Do you think Jasper Holland can make that argument? Or is he going to say we need to axe the tax because liberals don't. We're going to do common sense conservatism, and much more common sense is going to do it. You think common sense? You think you can run on just having Jasraj Hallan, a certified dum-dum? In my own personal experience, I've interacted. I've watched him in his element do politics, speak on issues. He seems like a man that has a participation trophy in accounting from a probably fake school. This man, you think he could just say common sense, and the Canadian public, who's center left anyway to start, is going to look at one of their technocratic heroes, like, look at him. You think you can get common sense on Justin Trudeau? Because Justin Trudeau will, like, paint his face black, go like, you're all racist, taxes 1,000,000%, and then, like, just go bang Melanie Jolie and, like, bang, like, gender balance, or and then come out. Mark Carney's not going to do that. If Mark Carney decides, like, you know what, I'm just going to, like, dress up in blackface and be like, yo, sick kids, I'm going to rap. It's MC Carney dog. Conservatives are racist, and we're here to say taxes, and we're going to make you gay, right? He does that. You could put Jasper Challet out going like, we're going to common sense axe the tax. People are, yeah, okay, common sense over this shit. But he's not going to do that. He's going to be like, I'm a very smart man, and I know in my experience as an expert, we have to balance the needs of the people and the climate and other economic factors, which means a smart investing. So we're not increasing taxes. We are smartly investing in the Canadian people. A lot of dum-dums will just be like, oh, yeah, and we're going to do that with a two-state solution in Canada. Or whatever the hell it is, whatever the two-state solution is at the time, for whatever issue. You can't just go, that common sense, we're going to common sense, tax the tax, common sense. You're going to get jacked. You're going to get jacked so the conservative influencer bros will be like, yo, Pierre's totally jacked. He's going to take on Carney. He's going to kick his ass. Remember, that's Trudeau. Why are we doing a diet, Trudeau? He fucked the guy. Yeah,
I have a question about the recounts. Now that the Conservatives have won a seat or two again in the recounts, is Elections Canada fake again or real again?
Yeah.
How can people be so intellectually dishonest? You were one of the few people, Darshan Maharaja. I want to appreciate Darshan Maharaja stuck his neck out and said, I stand with Elections Canada, and I am not going to question the integrity of Elections Canada and the counting. He stuck his neck.
I'm not going to question their integrity. I'm going to question their competence because they're the Canadian government.
Yeah, I mean, if you find so many failed ballots later on.
That's why we have recounts, and that's why they should be this, because we question their competence in looking. But I've said, like, listen, I've always said these elections are real. The internal party elections are fake.
Yeah,
those are all fake. Those are all third world banana republics. These ones are not. Yeah, and that there's some people, Brian Begay and Wyatt, of course, on Twitter. A lot of there were a good amount of conservatives who didn't go down the path, but a lot of people, it's just such an easy, like, oh, they rigged the vote and they did the thing, and like, if they rigged the vote, like, Carney would have a majority, like, and
it's just intellectual inconsistency.
It's honestly, it was a snap election. Like, how are they going to like planning a rigging of a vote? Like, sorry, but like you're better off spending your time earning votes than rigging votes. Like, unless you can say, oh, in the voting machines they put an algorithm to add in extra vote for the Liberals every 3 seconds or whatever. Like, okay, like, we should watch out for that, but have actual election monitoring. Their paper ballots, and like, people have to go and like actively vote and check and cross and stuff. Like, it's So the Conservatives are going to say that's good. You don't want too strong and stable a government. You want the Liberals to have to be more centrist to maintain power. That's good, because we had 2.5 years of Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh. Just that you can say common sense to. When Jagmeet's on TikTok, like, here's how you take a turban. And these are different terrorist groups I support, guys. Loblaws. guys, we're gonna take the CEO of Loblaws. We're gonna Antifada the Loblaws Antifada. We need a Loblaws Antifada. That's what he was pushing for. Yeah, so good luck with Jasper Highland. Good luck. He'll say, listen, I have an online diploma in accounting from Northeast Southwest Alberta Technical. And I say we just need more common sense. Like, drug money come in, spend money on stuff. That's how we do economics.
By the way, I want to play this fun video. The international students are back with the bang. You have to listen to this clip. And before I say anything, just say no
Serenade
to
me,
French.
please. Oh my God, it's in French? Bibliotech.
No, just listen to this. Listen to this.
We are international students studying in college across Montreal.
But unlike university students at McGill and Concordia,
We are still forced to pass French exam to graduate.
They are in a French-speaking area of Canada, and they're whining about them being forced to speak French. This reminded me of the greatest meme ever. Just say no to French.
Oh, I love it. Try pulling this on the French. This is try. Oh, I love this. I love this.
Just listen to the rest of the demands.
I support them
Oh my God!
because I support the French more in what they're going to do. But
Only in Canada can we get something this ridiculous. Just watch this.
To get a PG. Why are college students treated differently?
we all came here to learn, we all contribute to Quebec, we all deserve the same chance.
University students fought and won.
Now it's our turn, our college must stand with us. No more double standards, no more barriers.
Oh my God! Who are these Indians? It's my
yeah, welcome to the French. You thought you could pull this stuff in Canada. You could pull. You don't need to speak English in English Canada. You need to use French.
This is an Indian. Look at the Indian comment. These are morons. Of the Oh my God!
They are French. The French take French very seriously.
Yes.
And if you're brown, you're gonna have the French.
Yes, and if you can't speak French, get the fuck out of Quebec, you moron.
I get to go. Listen, I get to go into Quebec and speak English at them because that's my right as an Anglophone Canadian because we defeated them at the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, and I will never let them forget that we won. This is how you Quebec, okay? Unless you're international, like listen, if you're not a Canadian or an American or a British person, like listen, if you're going to want to live in Quebec. If you want to live in Quebec, you have to speak French. But if you want to just like survive Quebec, okay, you always start with hello. You look them in the eyes, you go hello, then you say bonjour. You always greet them first in English, then you greet them in French, and then you talk to them in English. Okay, this is a certified how you deal with the French strategy. It's trust someone Anglophone who deals with the French but doesn't know how to speak French because you have to in the country that is French. 100%. Accurate term. This is tour guide tested. This is empirically tested life advice for dealing with the French. You say hello, always start in English. I got it. Hello. Then you say bonjour because you set the tone, you set the pace. I am English. And then you trick their brain with a bonjour. So then they hear French and then they look back at you like expect, is he going to French me? And then you look at me and you just start speaking English because you know they can speak English because we defeated them at the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. So they will speak fucking English when I talk to them. But that's my right as an Anglophone Canadian to mess with the French. You want to be like not Canadian and just a foreigner and like try and not French at the French? Good luck with that, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah, that's why I don't go and live there. If I don't want to speak French, I will not live there. And I can only imagine them speaking Punjabi to them. That would be so cool. They'll be like, and they'll be like, you fucking bastard guy. Just when I saw this video, I just couldn't stop laughing. I was like, what is happening in this They're in Quebec in this year. We're not going to speak French. I think Chandra Arya's meme has taken a hold.
Good luck with that, boys.
Oh, well done. I'm so proud of them. Oh, that meme, just say no to French, was the greatest meme ever. But Chandra Arya's photo on it, I was like, I have never seen something funnier than that in my life. And I thought, okay, it's done, it's over. But no, these students have taken it to the next level. I don't think they realize. I don't think they realize how serious this is, and 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 just for for my personal entertainment, I have to. I mean, I like Chandra Arya, but this is the greatest moment of Canadian politics. This is the greatest moment of Canadian politics ever. Watch this, guys.
How's your French?
No.
No, no French. No French. Okay, the Liberal Party can't.
How's your French? No.
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 Oh my God.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
so,
right.
How's your French? No. Screw you. Oh
Fucking
man, that was so good. Just so good. I laughed so hard when I watched that. I was like, I'm so proud of Chandra Arya. He did not give a flying fuck. He was like, listen, I don't speak French. I'm running for prime minister. All of you can go to hell. Oh man, that was so good. What other news did we have as far as Canada is concerned? There's so many things that happen in Canada that I just can't stop laughing my ass off on the stupidity of what Canada is becoming. So we had poopy minister, that's done. We had the ministries done. That is also covered pretty much. Oh, by the way, I don't know how many of you know this. Like, did you know about this story? How at one point of time the Israelis and so it was shared by Arihant on Twitter from a book excerpt. I knew the story, but it's good that Arihant shared it, the direct excerpt. So the Israelis and the Indians had once planned to basically denuclearize Pakistan. And guess who came in? The Americans. And the Americans said no. So I thought I'll share this bit also with people. This was good by Arihant. He shared this bit from a book excerpt on Twitter. But yeah, I'm just looking at what are the other things that we can share. It's like I still can't get over the fact that man, just that these students went there and they thought that they can say this thing and oh, did you see this news? Multi-parent families like thruples to be granted legal rights in Quebec. What did you make of this bit?
For a culture that wants to keep itself safe and like, it's interesting how they're trying to ban the niqab, but they're going to backdoor Sharia through weird.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, like, people hear, oh, throuple, polyamory, you think like, yeah, I'm like gonna be great, like 2 chicks, and they're being bisexual, and they're gonna like both want me, and it's like a thing, and it makes sense. And like, I'll be like a rich millionaire guy, and then like one of the wives will work, and the other one will be like a housewife, and then like it'll be like perfect. He's like, no, that's not gonna happen. You're talking about Sharia law. You're talking about your thing here, but listen, I guess it's better to have them do open Sharia than the way it's currently being done now, where they're like a relative or a single mother living on a single mother benefits. So that's the grift right now, is like if you have 2, 3, 4 wives, the second, third, fourth wife, they all count as single mothers on the government stuff, and they get the single mother benefit and support and all that money, and that funds a family of jihad.
Yeah. How do you think this worked out for Pierre Poilievre now that the election is over? He was there, right, beside you, waving to the crowd
I
in the
was there.
Khalistani rally. How did it work out for him? Waving
Khalistan
his hands.
flags. 1, 2, Khalistan flags. You should have spent more time in Carleton than you did in Khalistan, Pierre.
Yeah. Clearly did not.
Grand lesson, again, the last week of the election, he decided to take time in Canada. Look, Canada, guys, Canada's big. It's big. When you fly from here to here in the last day, that's over more than entire countries in Africa or South America or whatever, cross Canada. It's huge. That's a 4.5-hour flight. To go to if for the Jewish people watching this, it's basically the Hindus perceive this as Khalistan Al-Quds Day March. It's the big Khalistan Day March. It's their Al-Quds Day. And there's pictures of terrorists everywhere and they're parading them down. And they all the most radical shit is said in Surrey at that place on that day. And I went to go check it out. And you saw them threaten me and the women the woman I was with and all that different stuff. Pierre decided to go there. Why? And where was the Khalistan vote? Were all the ridings that are deeply held Khalistani ridings, they're still Souk Dhaliwals, still red. You didn't flip a single one. We didn't even get any blue Khalistan flips. Yeah, there's some Khalistanis who gave safe ridings in Alberta, but all the Khalistanis any Khalistani who didn't run in a safe conservative riding, none of them won. So what was the investment in the last week of the campaign? Because by flying out to BC, you couldn't be doing other things. How about instead of you're in Carleton, how about coming to Toronto, to the GTA, to Dornoch? How about when Joe Tay gets threatened by the Chinese Party, the CCP goes after Joe Tay, one of your candidates? How about you take the friggin' train down to Toronto and go, hey, here's Joe Tay, he's a great guy. The RCMP wants us to stop our campaign, but we're not stopping our campaign. The CCP and foreign interference can get out. I'm Pierre Poilievre, and I'm hard for Canadian. No! He can't hang out with Joe Tay. Only loser Khalistanis can he hang out with because they're all dum-dums. They'll all just say whatever Jenny Byrne or the party, whatever, is like, X the tax, we're going to common sense, bring it home to X the tax, common sense, bring it home.
I think this video sums up the conservative campaign. This is from San Francisco, but I think this is the conservative campaign. This is the conservative campaign. I think nothing explains it better. I think they're stuck right up the asshole of the Khalistanis. They're right up the Khalistani assholes.
They're up their own ass. I think that's what it is. The Khalistanis just happen to be benefiting off of this, but this is all self-inflicted. I don't even blame the Khalistanis for this. The Conservative Party fucked this one up. They fumbled it. They lost. They're losers. Yeah, you put bad players out there. I blame the coach. Yeah, but the players suck. Yeah. But you put the Toronto Raptors on the ice in basketball equipment to play hockey. That's your fault. You should have put out the guy in skates with a stick instead of the 6'10" black guy in sneakers and shorts on the ice. That's your fault. Yeah, of course he's going to try and dunk a puck. That's not going to work. I could have told you that. That's your fault. You did that. Oh, we got the most votes than any other conservative. Yeah, and you still lost. The Leafs could have scored 5 goals in that Game 7 game. And we scored 5 goals in Game 7. Wow. You still gave up 6.
Yeah, and did you see that the damn thing is deleted now? But I was looking at that immigration criteria thing, and they barely have anything from the STEM fields, which was so disappointing for me. But hey, what do what do you do? We'll just now take some of the super chats. You can respond to the first one. Jews were in Israel for 4,000 years is a fact, but there are Muslims there for 500 years. Jerusalem is a holy site for them. So I don't know what the point is, but it's a comment on what you were saying, I guess. So you can respond to it.
Yeah, like he's making the thing like Jews were there first, but there were Muslims there afterwards. Now I debate the whole Al-Aqsa was the third holiest site in Islam. That comes after Israel. Like if you look at the Al-Aqsa site as administered by the Ottomans and Jordanians, it was like left. It was not a left in repair. So it became a holy issue to sort of push this. Now I'm not going to say there isn't a mosque there and Muslims haven't been in there. Like yeah. And Israel, if you read the mandate for Palestine, which is all based on going to Palestine, Israel is the mandate for Palestine is the British were taking over a mandate for this region. The French had a mandate for Syria and a mandate for Lebanon, and the British had a mandate for Palestine, a mandate for Iraq. And Palestine was partitioned into East and West Palestine. One for it was originally Jews and whatever. But within the language of it, until today, it says that it's a state, Zionism, right? It's a state to a homeland for the Jewish people, but not at the exclusion of anyone else's rights. Like within all the founding documents of Israel is, yes, it's a state for Jews to call home, but not at the exclusion of. So Muslims in Israel have rights. So yes, Muslims were there. Muslims there for 500 years. Sure. I'm not saying you weren't there. I'm saying Palestine wasn't a magical country before this, but you don't have to leave. If you want to get along, you can live in Israel. Muslims in Israel have more democratic rights than anywhere else in the Middle East, more rights than anywhere. Where do Muslim women have the most rights in the Middle East? Israel. Right? So there's Muslims on the Supreme Court. You can be a Muslim and get a job. It's like being a Muslim in Canada. No one's saying no Muslims in Israel. No one's saying no Muslims in Canada. But the other side is saying no Jews here. Right? So the question I say to that, and like I don't think that's asked in bad faith. I think you're understand what the other side wants to do, because you're looking at the Palestinian side, which is openly Judenrein. The West Bank, Jordan, right? When Jordan took over Palestine, as I said, they ethnically cleansed all the Jews. It's still illegal to sell land to a Jew in Jordan. When Jordan took over what they then called the West Bank of the Jordan River, they did the same thing again. All the Jews were kicked out, ethnically cleansed, and you were not allowed to sell Jews. And then part of like Israel winning the war is Jews coming back to Judea and Samaria. And this is where you have things. But the whole concept of Palestine is it must be a state free of Jews. So the people who support Palestine generally support a state free of Jews. They'll say in different ways. Some of them are Nazis and like, yeah, Jews are evil. We'll have a state with all the Jews, no Jews. That's what we want. The hills of Judea will be free of Jews. And that's what they say. But other people know they ultimately do support, but they do it's more complicated type thing. So because you know deep down in your heart that a Palestinian state is a state without Jews, you then impose that argument on Israel, which is also fundamentally untrue, because there's 1.2 million Israeli Muslim Arabs who have full democratic rights within Israel and full rights within Israel. So you impose that again on Israel, like you impose the failings of the people you're defending onto Israel. No one's saying make it Muslim. Like again, the real question is answer this. If you're going to answer this question, all of you, and I think this is fundamental thing, before you say anything on Israel Palestine, where do you think Jews should and should not be allowed to live? If the answer is, I don't think Jews should not be allowed to live anywhere. Jews should be theoretically allowed to live anywhere they want, that they can legally purchase land just like anyone else. Then you have to say, okay, then why are you supporting a state like, again, but the fundamental Palestinian argument is, here are places that have to be Jew-free. And even when they get Jew-free, like Gaza was made Jew-free. We made this compromise. All the Jews were removed from Gaza in 2005, even in the graves, alive and dead, fully Jew-free, given control to the Palestinians. They elect Hamas. They then kill the PLO. They do their own civil war, declare war on Israel, start firing rockets at Israel right away, and then they have to be put under a weapons blockade. Where do you think Jews should and should not be allowed to live?
All right. This was a Palestinian supporter. Lavon Affair and King David of Hotel are false flags. I'm just reading it out. We don't need to respond to it.
It's kind of funny. Like that's actually like a pro-Israel talk. It's so stupid because
It's okay, ignore.
it,
The
it,
solution is 3 states. India had to do it in 1971, and for Gaza has to exit, it can only be part of Egypt or a third state. Somebody's agreeing basically with your point. Someone says Twitch disabled report button on Hassan Piker's channel, despite his calls for terrorism in America. Why isn't I think his channel has been blocked or something of that sort has happened now. Um, what's turned Trump against Israel and India? I think Trump is not against anyone. Trump is just for himself. You maneuver with Trump, you get what you want. It's as simple as that. Well, somebody has told you to be very careful. Well, now if somebody's wondering what should be talking about, well, this is it. Salman Seema has shared this, so I'm taking it from his Twitter handle. So on Sunday, May the 25th, tomorrow at 9 a.m., everybody's meeting at 12 Bideford Avenue, Toronto. So if you are in and around that area, please go and join the walk for Israel. And I think it was Dahlia who had shared some of the tips. I mean, I came across that. So these are some of the tips for people who are walking. I think it's a sensible.
No safety tips. No, I won't read this. No. Take this off. Take this off. I'm going to save you right now. The way you stay safe is you walk with courage. You go and you walk and you do it. And you keep your head on a swivel and you go and you go, you wave the flag, you walk, and in this, you see whatever, you stand your ground, take a phone out if you see something, like you'll be on the thing, you'll be fine, stand up to evil, right? It's hazak ve'amatz, strength and courage. It's the only way through, guys. They want to scare you, they want to deter you, they want to make you this and that and a pamphlet and this and that. Okay, if you need to read the community safety tips to quell your OCD-based anxiety, fine. Go, do it. But actual safety tip, hazak ve'amatz, get out there, do it, stand up, do things that people think are dangerous that actually aren't, that you're just walking from point A to point B, you're in a crowd, you're walking for Israel, do the right thing, and accept whatever the consequences may come, and you'll be a better person for it.
All right. I guess on that, we'll end today's discussion. So as always, guys, you can follow Daniel on X. His X handle is there in the description. My X handle is also there in the description of the podcast, whether you're listening to the audio version or you're watching this video version on YouTube. Also, you can send your donations directly to Daniel through PayPal. In Canada, in my case, you can send donations through Interact Canada. The email ID is kushalmehra81@gmail.com. In India, if you have a UPI, you can send it to kushalmehra at icici, wherever you want to send your donations. If you really want to support the podcast, then do consider joining the membership program, whether it is on YouTube or on Patreon, whichever platform you prefer. These are the two options. Obviously, you can buy the merchandise, all the links, everything, whether it's for my book, everything is there. If you can't do any of that, just like this video, subscribe to the podcast. Keep tuned into Canada. This is Daniel Boardman and Kushal Mehra signing off. Please take care of yourselves. All the best. Bye-bye.